pretty much what Turkey did to get here in the first place. They scraped their way through the playoffs, the qualifiers. It was a rough affair, but they're here. And you know what? You can't win tournaments in the group stage. You can't win tournaments in the playoffs. But once you get there in the finals, that's when you can step up. And that may just be what Turkey are doing here. They did, of course, get a rude awakening this morning, I think it's safe to say, going down so heavily, 6-1 to Serbia.
Yeah, I mean, we did say how it'd be interesting to see how the big results would affect the two teams, and certainly Turkey have come off it the better. I would just like to clarify for anyone watching at home that 3 times 3 is, of course, 9. It was a 4 a.m. start for me this morning. I'm getting a bit of stick behind the scenes, so I apologise for my own maths. I did get an A in GCSE, so I'm not sure where that maths has gone, but we've got another chance here, and it's a stunning header, and it's going from bad to worse for Denmark. And just to clarify, 3 + 1 is 4. It's 4-0 to Turkey.
4-0, and more importantly, 6-0 on aggregate. It's job done. What a little nod into the corner there. Nice little guided header. Really not a lot Schmeichel can do about that. Had the whole net to cover, and wisely judged the left side, but yeah, top corner. And well, this is just one-way traffic right now. It could be a case of how many and how high is this going to go.
Yeah, it looks like we are going to be saying goodbye to Denmark in this competition, and similar to the Romania thought process, you know, how far can Turkey go? They've played really, really well here, and they've recovered, importantly, from that first matchup. So, interesting to see.
Yeah, something that we should talk about, I don't know whether it has been talked about, is obviously the teams are stat balanced, and that's a cheeky one. Okay, they've got one. They've got one.
They've got one.
I mean, they're kind of making the point. It is still 4-1. It is still 6-1 on aggregate.
6-1 on aggregate, yeah.
There's a long way to go. Come on. Pride on the line for Denmark, and that's the first.
It's a deft little chest into the back of the net.
I'm going to say, that wasn't really a header, was it? It was like just like, oh, I've jumped too high.
I mean, shouts for top of the arm there from some of the Turkish players, but the referee gave the goal. And back to the halfway line we go. Braithwaite, the scorer, right on the stroke of half-time. And it's been a half lead that's been well and truly dominated by Turkey.
Yeah, one to forget for Goldboy there in the opener, especially coming into it so tight. But you could argue when he's coming into the game chasing, we don't know what he's done with the tactics. We didn't get to see the tactics at the start. Maybe he's kind of left himself a little bit too exposed in chasing the game.
I mean, even if tactically you're not doing anything, from a mentality point of view, you know you've got to chase the game. So straight away, like you said, it's going to be more difficult, and you're going to leave yourself more open. Yeah,
and to let that goal in, I think it was, what, 5 minutes, the first goal as well.
Yeah.
Mujahid definitely stepping up. From what I'm told, Harry's telling me, obviously this is a case of Mujahid stepping it up from his performance throughout the playoffs. That's got to be offside. Yes, it will be. So a little sigh of relief there. 2 of them a mile off. Just having a jog. But still, long way to go here. 40 minutes to play for Goldboy to step up and do something. If he's going to get scoring goals, it's got to be now.
Some of the guys, but oh, there's a chance here. He's through. He's onside. The goalkeeper comes, but doesn't get anywhere near it. It's another goal for Turkey, and they are putting in one performance here.
Well, I mean, talk about a simple through ball. The defence was just nowhere to be seen there. Left hanging in the wind.
Like
stepped up, checked up. Yeah, tried to check his run and see if he could cut the ball out. And that was just, well, the nail in the coffin. As simple as that. 7-1 on aggregate now. We're going similar to the Romania game. And a very one-sided performance here. Not quite able to hit the mark with that one. And I think that's perhaps the story of the day. I just think of the early chances that Louis had, and you should got to be thinking if it could have been such a very different game. You know, the nutmeg goal that started things off for Turkey has kind of just been the flow of it and a beautiful through ball. But this, unfortunately, I mean, we don't know, like you say, the mentality coming into the game could be very different.
But also that chance right at the end of the first game when he kissed the post.
Yeah.
And if that had gone in, 2-1, well and truly game on. But it's all a case of ifs and buts for Denmark at this moment in time, because really, you have to say, Turkey have deserved it.
Could say they're delightful.
60 minutes gone here. 5-1 in the second game, 7-1 on aggregate. And can Christian Eriksen spark some kind of lifeline here? Down the left-hand side it goes. Cleared away. It's food and drink for that man.
Just, well, 30 minutes to go. That's a siding tackle just to try and stop it going off the pitch there. Committed, I think, is the phrase that we should probably use for this one. But brilliant little play. Nice little turn. Looking for the cut back there, but wasn't to be had. Goalboy read it like a book this time. But again, a misplay. Nearly runs into a counter-attack. So, switching the ball across the pitch. Seeing if it can work anything to Hoppier down the right wing. Looking for an opening, but look at it. There's just no openings for him. Tries to play through Paulson. Almost misled. Got a runner on the left. Tries to get it out there, but again, where can he go from here? Nowhere. Oh, my word. Brutal in the box there. Pinned out, and that's just it. Turkey have got so many back there that it's very hard for Denmark to try and break through. They have got a counter on, but the keeper's off his line.
20 minutes is all that stands between Turkey and a place in the game versus the two winners from the group. It's
looking likely that Turkey are going to go through and get themselves some confidence as well going through this one. A mental edge, you know, to get the revenge back on a team that beat them twice in the playoffs. They're now going to be looking forward in the tournament and thinking, okay, we've got our revenge back on Denmark. Can we do the same on, say, Serbia? I don't believe they faced Italy at some point. Oh, nearly wriggles it through, but couldn't get it under the keeper.
Lovely, potentially a high sense skill of the day there. A little bit of a step over coming here. My eyes were correct, yeah. I thought it was quite nice. Unfortunately, obviously, the goal didn't come of it. Otherwise, that would have been pretty nice.
Well, the corner does come of it. Just 7-1, the current scoreline. 15 minutes to go. Turkey on the attack. Cut out easily for a second corner. Not too many corners so far in this game, so getting a little set play workout here. That's going to wiggle loose, but the defender's there. But look at that, Turkey, plenty of men back. No worries, we're going again.
10 minutes remaining here. Can Turkey add to their 7-1 whitewash here, or can Denmark get a bit of pride back representing their country here at the eEuros 2020? What a stage, Lee, to be playing on. And do you feel that that might have had something to do with how Denmark have kind of imploded a little bit in this second game?
Yeah, I mean, maybe they've certainly... maybe they just came into it too confident because of previous results, or I'm not too sure, or whether they've just not been on it this morning. You know, the fact that they've already lost 5-1 and now 7-1 in the morning is it's pretty rough. And that's it. Your tournament's done. You're out because there is no lifelines after this. This is the lifeline for Turkey. They are taking it with both hands and pulling themselves out of the mire. But looks like for Denmark is the last we'll see of the Scandinavians. They did, of course, take down Sweden. He can't even get the rebound. Oh, he still managed to get the play. Oh, beautiful finish. Where's that been? Where's that been for the last 180 minutes?
Well, they've gone hell for leather to try and get something from this match. It was a very, very tidy finish as he cut onto his favourite right foot and just caressed the ball into the far corner after a stunning stop, you have to say, from the Turkish number one. But it's going to be far too little too late as far as their qualification goes, unfortunately.
just the lifeline. Nice little curler into the side netting. Casper Dolberg there, nicely done. But celebrate as you will, mate. 7-2 is the scoreline. You know, Goal Boy, he's got the 2 goals. Unfortunately, it does come against 5 that Muzit has managed to get here.
Yeah, he came out of the blocks right from the start and pretty much killed the game in the opening half an hour or so. And it's been a real uphill climb for Denmark ever since, as the ball gets played across to the left-hand side. Another chance here to whip it into the danger area, but that's easy claim there for Special Michael.
On the counter, whistle's about to go. It will now, because that's a full-on chop. Gets away with it though. But there we go, 7-2. Turkey will move through to the tiebreaker match, which will be happening later on this evening. Keep your eyes on the stream for when that's going to be happening. We've got so much action to go through. This is, of course, only Group B. We've got to go through C and D losers matches, then all the winner matches, and then we're going to get to the tiebreaker matches. We've got to see who their opponents will be. It's going to be, well, one of either Italy or Serbia. But let's first just recuperate and exactly figure out where the hell did it all go wrong for Denmark?
You'd have to say, coming into that second game, as we mentioned on stream, the mentality of the 2 sets of players, it's a very, I wouldn't say very easy, but it's an easier job to sit on a 2-0 lead, and especially in eFootball PES 2020, to be able to sit there and just soak up the pressure, hit them on the counter, and to get that early goal like he did as well, it set it up for the rest of the game, really.
Yeah, and looking at obviously the previous match where you had that beautiful through ball that worked it well. Here's a highlight, and you can see just 3 minutes in, smashed into the top corner. The story of the game and where it continued on. I think it went to about 4-0 before we finally saw a reply from Denmark.
2-0. Very, very easy done as well after half an hour. And then, of course, the third goal was, I mean, you have to go down as a defensive error, but again, because he was already behind by 4 goals to 0, he was panicking and he was trying to play the ball far too quickly. Should have just cleared his lines, and the rest was history, with a 4th there on the day as well, just before half-time, to pretty much kill off all hope of a turnaround.
This the chest in the net.
Goal. Is that so-called goal of the day?
Not too sure on that one. That was certainly, well, a simple defensive error once again that set it through. They did manage to get a goal here. This was nice ball, nice little curler from a tight angle into the corner of the net there, the far post. But as you can see, the FedEx stats does match up. 46% possession. Turkey didn't have the possession, but they don't need to when they have 9 shots at near 78% accuracy. And while 5 of them found the net, unfortunately for Denmark, doesn't matter how good the stats are. The fact is, the scoreline didn't go your way.
It certainly did not, and like you said, they didn't need the possession, to be honest, as they went into that game, especially after that opening goal. To be 3-0 up with only less than a game to go, they could just sit there, soak it up, hit on the counter, and that's pretty much what they did. Very, very ruthless.
Yeah, solid performance. Obviously, coming up, we're going to have Group C and Group D. Obviously, we've got to see how they're playing out. Some big matches going to be going through. We're covering all the loser bracket matches today. That is to say, it's all the teams that have lost their first opening game within the group. All the opening games are being played out right now as they happen. And then we're going to be covering all loser matches. You'll get to see every single team today. Don't worry, you're not going to miss anyone. Just keep yourself on the stream and we'll show you all the action. If you missed earlier on, well, Romania, a dominant performance, and honestly, they had a very close game with Spain before that. I believe it was 6-5.
They lost
pushed
6-5.
Spain to the limit. Yeah, very tight from them. They will go through to the tiebreaker match that will be happening later on. That's obviously from Group A. I don't know whether we're going to have one of the players for an interview. Hopefully we can get a word from them. If not, I'm sure we'll hear from them later on. Regardless, the Turkish players, so they will go through. But Adam, any takeaways from this match?
more so actually the first game. I think the professionalism from Turkey just to be clinical in front of goal, because they weren't necessarily the best team, certainly for large periods, the opening 60 minutes or so. They were towards the back end when they had the freedom of the 2-goal cushion, but certainly they just sat there, did the dirty work. You know, they were dogged in defensive areas, and they were clinical in front of goal. And I think, like I said to you, possibly even more impressive than the Romania performance for that reason.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, for any teams that are going to be looking at, certainly be it either Serbia or Italy, they're going to be looking at the matchups and thinking, okay, got this turtle, he got a 2-0 win, but it very much could have been a different result had Aloe managed to take his chances.
Yeah, certainly, and we touched many times on the last chance right at the death when it hit the post, but through a lot of the period of play, you know, Denmark were on the front foot. They had chances. It's just that final ball, the killer instinct, just as sometimes happens in big tournaments, it was missing on the day. And so, yeah, I'd certainly look at the matchups going forwards for Turkey, because the second game, I feel, was possibly the better performance from a Turkish point of view.
Yeah, and of course, obviously, looking towards Mujahid, fantastic, solid performance. Out the gate from the start, 3 minutes in, gets himself the goal. The dream start for Turkish fans. I know there's a lot of you out there in the chats as well, as a lot of Turkish fans backing your team, so they will go through, which is great for you guys. Obviously, not so good for Scandinavia, because I think that's Scandinavia done, right? I think they're all out now.
Sorry, say that again.
All the Scandinavian teams are done, I believe. Yep, they are. I'm afraid. Sorry, Scandinavia, you are out of the tournament. So chances. I mean, it's the classic case, right? Denmark knocked out Sweden on the way here. They always ended up facing each other at some point. It's like England always having to face Wales or something like that. Sadly, England didn't make this tournament, did they?
It's interesting, though. We've mentioned how Turkey obviously got beaten in that first game. I think he said against Italy. If they were to play each other again, often psychology comes into it at the highest level as well. It's not just about the natural-born abilities, and often the team who's been beaten in that first game can sometimes produce a shock in that next game. So Turkey could find themselves going through after that.
Yeah, I believe it was Serbia that took them down. But anyway, we're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, we're going to be moving on to Group C. That'll be with Harry and Weza. We'll see you in a few.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to eEuro 2020. We've had our first couple of games in Groups A and B. Now it's time to move over to Groups C and D. My name is Harry Shannon. Thank you so much for joining me wherever you are in the world. You can, of course, be watching on the UEFA YouTube channel. You can be watching on facebook.com/Euro 2020. Joining me is Stuart Wesley, aka Wezza, and here are our next set of games. We're going to be kicking things off in Group C with Luxembourg versus Croatia, and then later on moving to Group D with Israel taking on Greece. Both of those nations went through qualification undefeated. So, Wes, we turn our attentions now to Group C. Our first real chance to get a look at Luxembourg. They obviously qualified through their group and didn't have to go through the playoff route. We can see how things have matured so far here in Group C. Obviously, Croatia coming up against Netherlands, who are definitely favourites to come out of this group as well, with a 3-2 scoreline. We saw them best Portugal and edge out Portugal in the playoff groups. Do we expect them to beat Luxembourg here, who have pretty much an unknown quantity to us, despite them winning their group?
Well, if you looked at the results in terms of from game one, they only just lost out to Montenegro, did Luxembourg. So, there's strength with that Luxembourg team as well. To get to this stage, I think if you're a neutral at home, I think they're probably the neutral's pick of teams to support. I love a minnow in any knockout tournament. So, Luxembourg, I think, have been great to get to this stage and to be, even in with just a shout to get through to the knockouts. I think they're in great position. Meanwhile, Croatia, they did very well to get themselves out of the playoff group, edging out Portugal, playing really well. So, I think this game is very much up for grabs, and I wouldn't like to put a prediction on it, especially with how I did in the Romania pick. I wouldn't like to put a name down. I might leave that to you this time, Harry.
Well, we said Luxembourg, thanks for that, by the way. We said Luxembourg, bit of an unknown quantity. Now it's time to meet the players from both Croatia and Luxembourg.
And the shot! Goal! Croatia! And it's Croatia who take the lead. And the shot! Yes! Has a goal! Back of the net! They are easing away.
Moje ime je Marko Gelo u gamingu Gel Zaprešić. Predstavljam Hrvatsku na eEuro 2020.
Hi, my name is Andriy Porčić, also known as Jana 18, and I'm representing Croatia on eEuro 2020.
And they're at it again in double quick time.
U e-sportu sam u 2015. godine i predstavljati Hrvatsku je ogroman uspjeh i veliko zadovoljstvo.
And it's Croatia who take the lead.
This is my second year in which I'm playing PES on higher level. I'm representing Croatia with my teammate Gel Zaprešić, who is a great partner. He has more experience than I have, and he knows how to deal with this pressure.
Moj suigrač Andriy Porčić u pravom životu je velika dobrica, a na terenu nema milosti. Put do finala bio je težak i neizvjestan do samoga kraja.
The playoffs were very thrilling. We need to win over Austria, and luckily for us, this scenario happened and we qualified to the finals. I'm looking forward for the eEuro, and I think if we show our best game, that we can win a title.
Naša pobjeda na eEuru bila bi ogroman uspjeh i skrenula pozornost na e-sport u Hrvatskoj.
Ovim putem želim poželjeti puno sreće našim momcima Marku i Andreju na završnici eEura. Igrate s najboljom ekipom, s Hrvatskom, tako da nema straha i idemo do kraja. Neka vaš dobar rezultat bude najava našeg velikog uspjeha iduće godine. Sretno, momci!
Goal!
Je m'appelle Gianluca Di Marco, connu sous le pseudo de Golf Racer dans le monde PES. Je compète depuis 2 ans et demi dans le monde des sports et maintenant je suis fier de pouvoir représenter le Luxembourg dans une compétition aussi importante.
My name is Steve Wiesmann, aka Tristan89. I'm representing Luxembourg at the eEuro 2020. It feels great, and I'm really happy to represent my home country at such a big event. Gianluca is a very good friend, and we've been playing together for 10 years now. For me, he is one of the best in this game.
Je suis vraiment content d'avoir Steve Wiesmann en tant que coéquipier. On se connaît depuis 2007 et c'est quelqu'un sur qui je peux vraiment compter.
We didn't know what to expect on the first match day, but I think that we managed it very well. I keep in mind some beautiful goals that we scored.
Notre but à la 96e minute contre le Kosovo a été mon moment fort de la compétition. De gagner l'Euro 2020 pour le Luxembourg serait quelque chose de beau et j'espère qu'on puisse faire partie d'une chose unique.
This could also be very important to develop e-sport, especially for a small country like ours. We would be really proud if we win this competition. I guess everything is possible in the finals.
Good luck for our two eGamer, Golf Racer and Tristan for the eEuro 2020 final. You can do this.
So there we go, we've met the players representing the two nations. What was interesting for me, the standout message there, Wes, is that they were, both these nations' representatives, playing to raise awareness of esports in their respective nations. And these are two esporting countries that we don't really see a lot of talent come out of. They're hoping maybe with a good result here at the eEuro 2020 competition that maybe can change and they can maybe change the tide in rising stars in the future.
Yeah, definitely. You look at the kind of the growth of esports as a whole, kind of in the last couple of years. It really has kind of come on leaps and bounds. And for countries like Croatia and countries like Luxembourg, tournaments such as this, they can be, very much a beacon to kind of really kind of, improve that visibility on a kind of a world and European level, most definitely. And good showings here, you might just start to go and say to people, well, actually, do you know what? I'd like to represent my country, in video games because, it is that type of tournament. And, with these guys, anything is possible. That was the key message I took away from Luxembourg is that they looked at it and went, actually, anything is possible. And we may see an upset here. Croatia could easily fall. And it's going to be an interesting game to watch here.
Well, let's kick things off then. It's going to be Croatia taking on Luxembourg. Croatia attacking from left to right, represented by Jana, who we just saw. Was very, very excited to represent Croatia in such a big tournament. The main takeaway that I got from those videos was mainly the fact that Jana is, quite youthful, still has a bit of young talent in him, and his compatriot, I suppose you could say, his teammate, Gels Zaprasic, the more experienced of the two, so he will probably be looking to try and feed off that experience. Racer, though, he and his colleague representing Luxembourg, as the referee might take a closer look at that, sees nothing wrong with it. Been playing together for 10 years. That's, it's almost youth and experience combined on the Croatia side versus lots of playing time together. And on the Luxembourg side, sometimes, steel sharpens steel, I should say, as the ball will roll out. We got to know Croatia quite well throughout the playoff campaign. We saw them not only in the group stages, but also in their time battling closely and fiercely with Portugal in the playoff groups. We expect them to be favourites in this match, but we'll see exactly what happens as they try and force a chance there with Petkovic, who has been an absolute beast up front, I think, for most of their qualification campaign. For Luxembourg, for us, Wes, bit of an unknown quantity. We tend to favour the teams and the nations that we know more in terms of predicting a result. But as you said before, they almost stole a result away from Montenegro, who we know are a strong side. Here is Barisic attacking here for Croatia. Real early chance, rattles the woodwork. It's a header at the near post. Didn't have too much time to react and shape the header. Ball still on here though. Modric. Tries to find his man on the near side. I think it's Perisic just offside, but coming back to what we were talking about, we need Luxembourg here really to step up, because this is their time in the spotlight. They qualified through Group F, which we said when we did the draw was a wide open group. Now's the time to really stamp their authority on the competition.
Yeah, definitely. You look at the way that they have equipped themselves for how they're playing here. It looks relatively like they've got a defensive shell of 5 at the back, which, you know, you've got to play to your strengths. When you're Luxembourg, of strengths, they don't really have too many, but stat balancing does certainly help them out in that regard. So they'll know this team inside out, and they'll know what to use. And, you know, with Luxembourg, yeah, it is these types of games, you know, that are kind of putting them in the spotlight, and hopefully they kind of live up to their billing as group winners coming out of the qualification process.
Sinani up to Turpel, but cut out well by the Croatian defence. Here is Petkovic. He's one you need to watch out for. Kramaric alongside him as well has been a real attacking force here for Croatia throughout their eEuro 2020 campaign. It falls kindly here for Barisic. He, though, is dispossessed well. And the racer falls to Kovacic, though, and, well, now Luxembourg can start to come forward. Here's Barrerio. He is, unfortunately, dispossessed. Ivan Perisic, who was wishing the boys well in that video message, will win a corner here for Croatia. Outswinger, real chance. Goalkeeper intervenes. And we're approaching half an hour gone. Still 0-0. Would you say this is maybe a win for Luxembourg?
I'd say they'll be happy. They'll be the happier of the two sides here, definitely.
Chance now. Making absolutely no bones about it. Clearing it behind for a corner. Jana with the outswinger. Goes for the front post, and it's in! A glancing touch was all it took. Dejan Lovren, the defender for Croatia, turned set-piece specialist. Front post header. Again, it was just a glance. It's all it needed, Wes.
Yeah, it's all it needed. It had all the power in the world. We've highlighted it before in the playoffs and obviously in eFootball Pro broadcasts that, you know, that type of corner with that type of power, they're very, very hard to stop. So that's where you see a lot of these players will put a man out to kind of block the ball getting in the first place. It's very difficult to stop, but you have to get a man out at the corner, otherwise you can, you know, become susceptible quite quickly.
Luxembourg want an immediate response, certainly a response before half-time would be nice. Janelo has steadied the ship off the kickoff, and now maybe can come forward here. Ivan Perisic with, well, I suppose you could say a heavy touch. Racer's defence did well, but the danger isn't averted just yet. Defence into attack now for Croatia. Perisic muscled off the ball again. This one's going to be a free kick, though, taken quickly. Perisic goes for goal! Brilliant piece of patience from Jana. It's Perisic, the goal scorer. It's 2-0 to Croatia.
And we can't underrate that little bit of a skill move. You can't underrate that little shimmy that kind of gave Jana that little bit of space. You'll see it again in the replay here. It's a little bit of a body feint, which encourages Racer to go and do a little bit of manual goalkeeping. Gives him enough room, and he can just get it onto Perisic's right foot, tucks it away, and Croatia. And again, it's that quickness of mind to spot Perisic out wide on a quick free kick as well. That little shimmy just gives him enough of an angle, puts it in for 2-0.
Caught the defence napping, didn't he? Such good presence of mind to take that free kick quickly. I mean, I certainly thought, I don't want to speak for you, Wes, but I thought maybe that one would have been in a prime position to be struck straight for goal, but it's that presence of mind from Jana being the difference maker, and, well, you sense that he wants 3 before the half. Racer, though, well, he's just going to put that one into row Z. Try and get more bodies behind the ball.
You talk about the presence of mind. We talk about these opportunities that players will wait for. They wait for that kind of, higher percentage shot. You wait for that kind of opportunity. And, it was done to perfection there by Jana.
Racer with a chance to counter here. 43rd minute, half-time rapidly approaching. Rodriguez just could not string the pass needed. It's a good tackle though. But it's falling kindly here for Croatia. Finally Luxembourg step in, but it's only to the feet of Modric, who can't find a pass. Bit scrappy towards the end of this first half. Rodriguez out wide on that far side. Well, 2 goals within 10 minutes for Croatia. Separate the two nations. If you are joining us for the first time, welcome. We do play 2 legs, essentially 2 games of eFootball PES 2020. Racer is in here. Dealt with well by Jana, out for a throw-in, but 2 separate games of PES. It's an aggregate scoreline at the end of the 2 legs that decides the result. And this is a loser's match as well. The way these groups work is 2 losses, you go home. Both of these 2 nations already have 1 loss to their name. Luxembourg losing out to Montenegro. Croatia losing out to the Netherlands, who are favourites to take this group. Kramaric manages to retain possession here for Croatia. Back to the feet of Kramaric, who holds it up really well. Modric and Barisic on this near side, trying to combine, but the defensive work from Luxembourg and Golf Racer so far hasn't been the worst that we've seen, but just offensively can't seem to get anything going.
Yeah, and that's where you feel that the strengths are for Luxembourg. It is defensively. I mean, you look at Jana and he's been able to kind of breach the kind of Luxembourg defence twice here, and you don't really feel that, Racer has played that bad and that Luxembourg have been too bad, but you can see there now, pace is now starting to be kind of imported into this team by Croatia's substitution. So you can see Ante Rebic coming on, you see Vlasic coming on as well, so you can see that Jana wants more goals.
Rebic, especially for Croatia, throughout the playoff groups was a prevalent figure. When you think back to Group J, Croatia and France went neck and neck. It was just the head-to-head results in the end that allowed France to take the group. They're a nation that we'll be seeing later on, no doubt, in their winners match in their group. Kramaric now dispossessed, and this is where maybe Luxembourg can start to build, but Milic steps in. It just seems the rub of the green at the moment going Croatia's way. Barreiro out to De Ville. There was a man free there in the centre. Not sure if going back was the right option. And that maybe is a bit of frustration there, Wes, and it will be rewarded with a yellow card.
Yeah, it's a little bit of frustration just boiling over. You can see there as well, Croatia just slightly buying that free kick, turning at the right time, and allowing the tackle challenge to come in. You can see as well, Croatia have kind of moved to a slightly more defensive setup. You can see at the bottom of your screens there, the light blue bar.
Oh, chance here for Vlasic! Oh, it's a thunderbolt of an effort. Really?
No sooner
he struck his foot straight through it, and it's pure power, Wes.
No sooner do I say they've moved to a more defensive style of play than Croatia go and put a chance in on Luxembourg's goal. But you can see on the flip side, Luxembourg trying to push the issue, gone to a more attacking-minded setup. But I'm not sure whether that's going to be enough here.
Corner in. Oh, almost went straight for goal. The goalkeeper called into action. Will be another outswinger by Modric. Might he go for goal once again? Keep an eye on the trajectory of this ball. There are 2 men on the edge as well. Wide open. Vlasic back out to Modric. Lovely turn. Tries to feed Perisic, who was waiting. Luxembourg bit pinned in at the moment. Trying to get the ball back, but unfortunately it's at the expense of a Croatia throw. Vlasic into Rebic. Tackled well. And now Phil can maybe think about spraying this one out wide. Bensi. Deville dispossessed. And just nothing seems to be going Racer's way. Nice turn from Rebic. He's been an assassin for Croatia. Looking for Perisic. Looks like Kramaric will be the one to maybe feed it back to Ivan Perisic. Gone a bit wide, but maintains possession. Too many passes maybe here from Croatia. You're just looking for someone to grab the ball by the horns. In the end, chance gone, and Luxembourg, they come away with it.
Yeah, you can see just the tired legs starting to creep in for that Luxembourg defence. It's providing more gaps and opportunities for Jana to really kind of take the game and finish it off in the first leg here. Still 2-0 though, still chances on.
It's another chance maybe for Croatia, dealt with by the Luxembourg defence. And, well, as the ball goes back to the Croatian goalkeeper at 2-0, you know, when you consider how much in an attacking sense Jana has been threatening, as a free kick will be coming in here for a terrible foul. Do you maybe take 2-0 going into the second leg if you're Luxembourg? Yes, you're down. Yes, you don't want to be in this position in the first place, but all things considered, it could have been a lot more than 2.
Yeah, I think all things considered, it could have been more than 2. And I don't really feel there's been a lot of opportunities for Luxembourg. And I think ultimately, I think you're kind of looking to consolidate just a touch going into this second game. If they can potentially get a goal in the last 10 here, it could make for interesting viewing. But it certainly looks at the moment Croatia with their abilities.
Kramaric with the third. And we said they might be happy with 2. They won't be happy with 3. Croatia certainly will be. Kramaric with his first goal in the first leg gives Jana and Croatia some breathing room going into the second leg.
Yeah, you could see, you know, as we were saying, if they could come away with a goal, Luxembourg would be happy, but they're not going to be happy with their defence being breached once more. Kramaric, again, finding space. Jana being able to work the space as well. You'll see it here. Even though there is 5 at the back, it's that ball back into the centre of midfield, opens up the gap. And again, if you're Luxembourg and you're putting too much pressure on the ball carrier, that's where that space opens up, because Kramaric has pulled off. He's able to just get into space. He's got plenty of time and pops the finish in with a plump.
Well, maybe some lower skilled PES players might have been trying to feed Kramaric straight away, but Jana with the presence of mind cropping up once again, knowing that he's got that one extra pass just to make the through ball certain. Sets up the 3rd goal for Croatia here in Group C. He might just smell blood here. That will be a foul, certainly. And tired legs certainly have been a factor here for Racer and Luxembourg. We still have a second leg to come, of course, where all the players will be refreshed from their fatigue, but you just seem again to see a little bit of a lack of imagination maybe from the attacking sense of Luxembourg. Hopefully we'll see that change in the second leg. Here comes Jana on this near side, trying to find Rebic, who's been a super sub for Croatia. Kramaric might just get there first. He does not, and this one will be brought back for a foul on a Luxembourg man.
Yeah, you can see, I mean, you look at how Luxembourg have set up. Granted, it has been slightly defensive, to say the least. I think that's probably been kind to them, but ultimately you look at Luxembourg and think, well, what is it they do have to offer up at the kind of the final third of the pitch? I mean, do they have pacey wingers? Do they have a physical unit to be able to kind of aim at? And Racer's looking a little bit devoid of ideas at the moment. Whether that means that we'll see a change in personnel in the second game remains to be seen. I think Jana will probably be encouraged and will probably want to finish this game off. But I don't think Croatia will do so many changes.
Racer then had a chance once again to build an attack. Needs to be careful here not to concede late on. There are runners here for Croatia. It's almost a 3-on-3 here at the back. Vlasic out to Kramaric. Oh, the man goes down early and gets just enough of the ball. I think it was more putting the man off than anything, but either way, Croatia winning the first leg 3-0. Resounding result, and to be fair, it's one we almost expected. We wanted to see maybe more out of Luxembourg. Hopefully we see that in the second leg, but oftentimes we do go with the known quantity. We've seen Croatia pull off these results against Portugal, against the likes of the other teams that were playing in that shark tank of a playoff group that they were in. And they're proving it here in the finals tournament as well. It's good to see from Croatia. It gives me hope for their next round should they get past Luxembourg. But for Luxembourg, some attacking changes certainly need to be made because, I mean, right now they seemed a little bit devoid of ideas.
Yeah, I think so. They're going to need to make some type of adjustment, either that's personnel, either it's tactical, game plan, whatever that may be. They're going to have to let the kind of handbrake off at some point. The only problem is you are up against an incredibly talented, Croatia side. You've got the likes of Modric, you've got the likes of Rakitic, you've got Kramaric, you've got Rebic, you've got Petkovic. There's so many weapons in that kind of arsenal for Croatia that it's going to be very hard to stop them. And you have to kind of really take a look at it from a Luxembourg point of view. We would love to see a giant killing, but I think it's more now improbable more than impossible for Luxembourg to really take it away in the second leg.
I mean, that second goal from Croatia with Rakitic doing so well, and with the free kick being played quickly, you might have just thought that would take the wind out of the sails and deflate the balloon that was Luxembourg's hopes here in the eEuro 2020 group stages. They steadied the flow and stemmed the flow a bit of the Croatia attack for the majority of the rest of the second half. But it just came down to that 80th minute lapse in concentration, and well, it allowed Croatia to get their third, and with a 3-0 cushion going into the second leg. Yes, we swapped sides. Yes, we changed connections here for the second game, but that's a really healthy cushion to take into a second leg.
Yeah. I think if it was 2-0, I think you'd probably have a little bit more of a nervous side from Croatia, but now they've got that extra goal to sit on. I think they'll take this away as we just look to the stats here. Granted, Luxembourg more accurate passes of the ball, and also had more of the possession. However, as we've always said, Harry, is that you can have as much possession in the world as you want. You don't put the ball in the back of the net, it will mean absolutely nothing.
Well, this is it. 5 shots. I feel like the majority of those shots must have come in the first half from Luxembourg, because in an attacking sense, we needed to see better build-up, certainly, from them. I'm not counting them out at all in this second leg, by no means, because we know how fickle eFootball PES 2020 can be. We know how comebacks can happen, and we know how just a change in personnel, I believe Jelz Zaprasic will be coming in for Croatia. Just a change in personnel and a change in play style can really impact the entire result of the game. So we'll have to see what the Luxembourg squad have to offer for us, really, in this next game to come.
Yeah, and it's just going to be a case of can Luxembourg, if they do get a goal early door, does that set off the alarm bells in the Croatian defence? Or more importantly, if Croatia take off early, does that mean batten down the hatches for Croatia? There's narrative there to be had. It's just a case of what happens next.
Well, we're about to jump into the second leg. A reminder to you all that you can vote on your expected outcome of every single match we're watching here today on the broadcast. Just head on over to eEuro2020.com/vote. It's a fun time to be an eFootball PES fan. We have lots of eFootball action both today and tomorrow, where we will be crowning our first eEuro champion. It's going to be a fun day's action. It's going to be a fun Sunday's action as well. And what's fun as well is the amount of people that have been, contacting me and saying that they've been watching this around the world. I had someone from Indonesia earlier on just say, hey, you're on TV in Indonesia. I was like, hey, that's cool. That's really cool. So wherever you are in the world watching us, make sure you communicate with the hashtag eEuro2020. You can, of course, go onto eEuro2020.com to see where all the nations are stacking up in their groups. Currently, Luxembourg versus Croatia, though. It's a 3-0 aggregate score for Croatia. Tristan, 89, has so much to do here for Luxembourg. Jelz Zaprasic, we've seen him close out results many a time for Croatia throughout the qualifying rounds to make it to the finals here. We expect much of the same here, don't we, Wes?
Yeah, I mean, you look at how Croatia set up now, it's going to be slightly different. But again, I feel like it's going to be more of the same here.
Yeah, watch out for Perisic here. Fresh set of legs. And, well, he tried to find his striker in the middle. Believe it was Rebic who's actually starting now for Croatia. So not the super sub we often see Jano use. Couldn't get it to go, though. Ivan Perisic here on the ball once again. Turns his man really well. Uses the strength to shield the ball as well. But Hall will come across. Shepherd the ball back. And now we get to see our first glimpses of what Luxembourg can do on the attack. And while the first touch really teed it up nicely for him, Tristan just reminding Croatia here that yes, they're 3-0 on aggregate, but he can be very clinical on the counter, just narrowly wide that time.
Yeah, you can tell that Croatian defender just did enough to put Tristan off there. However, I think Seprasic is going to have to be on guard here because it's still very open at 0-0. I think that first goal is going to be absolutely vital. Whichever way it goes, it's going to really set the tone for this game.
Well, it's a big cliche, probably the biggest cliche in the sport, but you're not wrong. Goal for Croatia would make it 4. You can't see Luxembourg getting those 4 back. But we'll see. Kramaric now. Rebic and Kramaric combining so well. Oh, he's blasted it off the bar. Brilliant, mesmerising 1-2. The finish. Well, I think it's just landed in my back garden.
It's the second time that we've seen a really good passing move not have the goal or finish that it actually deserves. That was fantastic play from Seprasic. Just could not get the finish. And again, if you're Tristan, it's a let off, and it can give you a bit of an impetus to go forward here.
Here he is coming forward now. Turpel off to Phil, has a strike. That's 2 big chances now for Luxembourg, which have just gone wanting of that deft touch at the end. Brilliant move, though. Signs of life.
Yeah, it was just that tiny bit of composure that was needed. Phil just launching that one past the post. But again, it was good build-up from Luxembourg. Again, there's still time in this. It's going to be a case of how Seprasic will get himself to the end of this game. If there's a mistake here, though, I mean, he comes out of it luckily there, but he needs to be careful with this passing game of his.
4 men forward here for Croatia. Seprasic might try and capitalise. Kramaric now, well, adjudged by the referee to have been dispossessed fairly. That might just set Tristan on his way. Here is Turpel. Sinani might be through 1-on-1. It's the first goal for Luxembourg here against Croatia. And that might just put the pressure on Jel Seprasic here. 3-1 on aggregate, still has to get 2 back. But there is certainly time on his side. And that goal might just set the narrative for the rest of this game.
You listen in the distance, you can hear the fire alarms and the burger alarms that are going off in that Croatian defence right now. Luxembourg find themselves a goal up, and all of a sudden the complexion of this tie really changes. The narrative now goes to, can Luxembourg really build on this game? I mean, there's certainly time, there's certainly weapons there for them to use, and they've found a way through this Croatian defence. All of a sudden, nerves are jangling. We could find ourselves on the end of a fantastic fight back from Luxembourg. Equally, though, as kind of temperamental as this game can be, we may end up with Croatia scoring 5 goals, and everything I've said is meaningless.
Well, for now, it's poised perfectly. Seprasic with the immediate response, potentially. Perisic! Great save. The referee's brought this one back, though, for I think a free kick just outside the D. So in a really nice position here for Luka Modric, or potentially even Ivan Rakitic to whip one in. Who will Seprasic go for?
We are on the short.
Modric steps up, goes for goal. Strikes the wall. Might still be on here, though, for Croatia. Bit of a mix-up at the back. And don't forget, Croatia and Seprasic had those 2 great chances early on in the game, the one that rattled the bar, of course. And, well, there's a chance again here. Luxembourg defending deep. But Tristan so far defending well. Kramerich intentionally fouled there. That'll be another free kick in a similar sort of position. A little bit further out this time though, Wes.
Yeah, you really don't want to be giving Croatia too many opportunities from here. It's prime real estate for the likes of Luka Modric, as we said before. First attempt hit the wall. Will they find this up and over the wall though?
Modric steps up, strikes it. Too wide. Could see his intention, try and go for that almost knuckleball style. Curl it around the wall. Didn't come off for him though. Two wasted free kicks really for Zaprasic, and that might just start playing on his mind a little bit. Well, since the Luxembourg goal, it's been the majority of the ball being in Croatia's favour. Here is Luxembourg though, and Thiel. Two men to aim for, but that's another defensive mistake here from Croatia. Just a little bit nervy here at the back. Rodriguez to fire it in. Didn't get past the first man though. Just look out for this Croatia counter. For momentarily it was 3-on-3 and might still be a lovely turn there from Perisic. Can anything come of it? Look out for Rebic making a front post run. Straight at the keeper though, just lacking the final product. Croatia winning the ball on the halfway line once again. Comes back to Luxembourg though. Missed the header as well. Sinani can turn his man. Thiel still has the ball here. Thiel goes for a header. It's off the bar twice and in. 3-2. And it's not even half time. On the third time of asking, it finally nestles in the net. And boy, do we have a game on our hands.
Like we said, the tide has turned in this side. All of a sudden now, Luxembourg in the driver's seat. They only need one goal to bring it back level. I mean, it was a bit of a scrambled finish, but Luxembourg are not going to care. Bounces off the bar, off the goalkeeper, back off the bar. It's a diving header from Turpel, and all of a sudden Luxembourg are well back in this.
Turpel like a salmon leaping for that diving header. And Zaprasic is well and truly in Nerve City right now. Half-time cannot come quickly enough. Tristan maybe trying to push the pace here. That tackle's a nice one. Bit physical, but a classic challenge there. Half-time rapidly approaching, and, well, Tristan might just have one more bite of the cherry. Here is Rodriguez. Meant to aim for in the centre. More of a hit and hope, really, and that will signal half-time here in the second leg. 2-0 so far. 3-2 still Luxembourg trail on aggregate. Zaprasic, you have to say, Wes, probably, I mean, it's a bit wild to say, but he might need a goal here just to steady the flow of the attacks that are coming in from Luxembourg.
I was going to say there might be a little bit of shell shock at the moment for Zaprasic. He needs to calm it down. Luxembourg, on the other hand, they need to keep, they need to keep their heads here. Does Tristan? I think it's a case of, on one side of it, you can have all that nervous energy where you clam up. And there might be that other side of things where you start to kind of take gambles and risks when you don't necessarily need to. I think Tristan needs to be very careful.
Just a lot of micro mistakes at the moment that are compounding themselves here for Croatia. They're coming forward here now, though. The battle of the balance as Rebic gets the ball across. Cleared just outside the 6-yard box. will come again though. Rebic on the ball again. Barisic, the man in support. Luka Modric. Pass into Rebic is just a little bit offside. And by a little bit, I mean a long old while.
Pull back for a booking there on Maglet.
So, 3-2 on aggregate. Luxembourg need at least a goal without conceding. And here comes Tristan on that far side. He'll win himself a corner, but the longer this second half of this second leg ticks on, Wes, the more maybe the nerves start to shift over to the Luxembourg side.
Yeah, I mean, it can very much work either way here. As Tristan's going for the acrobatic, and it causes a bit of a counter-attack opportunity here that needs to be very, very careful of.
Dealt with well. Kramerich was the man trying to dispossess. He does actually, in the end, get a hold of the ball. Beats his man as well. Chance here. Corner will be the result. Outswinger. Fired into the front post. And it's in. Saprasic gets his goal. It's Milic the scorer. Luxembourg hearts just dropped out of their chests. 4-2 now for Croatia. Is that the end of the comeback?
It's that well-versed set piece that we've seen so many times from so many nations. And it's Milic this time that gets up and beats the defender. I mean, he's running back for the ball. I don't think he's realised what that means for the tie, that he probably should just leave the ball in the net. But again, that looks like it's a real body blow for Luxembourg. And they're going to need a little bit of resilience here as the ball goes in.
Yep, Sinani has a chance maybe to lay it off, and it's an immediate reply. Back within one, within seconds. Deville has reset the storyline. It's as you were. 4-3. The Luxembourg fans in the stadium loving what they're seeing, but they still need one more.
I'll tell you something, even if they don't get through here, Luxembourg will have left their imprint on this competition. Again, it was a body blow to concede, but they dished one straight back into the heart of that Croatian defence. And Saprasic looking really vulnerable when it gets even to, even for a team like Luxembourg who don't necessarily have that type of capability up front. You've got to wonder if they do get through to the latter ends of this group stage, and they do get through to the latter ends of these competitions. Saprasic just trying to control the game just a touch.
Barisic now. Saprasic, like you said, wants to try and control this game. Still 20 in-game minutes to play. Barisic maybe to whip one in. This game poised on a knife edge. Fresh sets of legs after that last goal for both nations. So just look out for the pace on the counter. That one's a little bit too ambitious for my liking. Now time is ticking down. I just can't call this, Wes. I mean, it's the game we all hoped it would be. Croatia, though, come forward. But once again are denied by Tristan and by Luxembourg. Damota. Denied by Croatia this time. Vlasic now can come forward. It's just back and forth. It's a classic game of Pez.
You almost get lost in watching it in terms of the quality of it.
Look at this. Kramaric is through. Great save. Amazing save. Had to be done. It will be a Croatian corner, but that might just save Luxembourg's chances in this tie. Corner to come, and don't forget the last goal Croatia scored came from this exact side.
Got to be careful of that set piece. We know that Croatia are very well drilled in it. Vida's now on as an obvious target.
We'll come out here to Kovacic. Might get a second swing. Mateo Kovacic, 1-2 with Modric. This could really kill the game off. Great save again. How has he kept this one within reach of Luxembourg? And now Luxembourg, they can come forward. Bensi can't latch onto the ball. We're approaching the 90th minute. If it's going to happen for Luxembourg, it has to happen soon. And oh no, look out for Petkovic.
See, Luxembourg, they can see and they can sense there's one final chance in this. Tristan trying his absolute best to work this ball up the field. Looks like there could be an opportunity.
Deville, real chance here. Zaprasic blasts it away. 89th minute. Phil has to swing one in. Was that the chance? Will he get another chance? I'm not too sure. The header's just gone over Wes, and it's agonising for Luxembourg. They were so close.
I still have my head in my hands here. It looked like it was for all the marbles for Luxembourg. They just couldn't keep the header down as Perisic is hauled down, and again gives time for Zaprasic to get his house in order. But there'll be some real inquests with this Croatian side. Luxembourg with, have done incredibly well to get this far and to get this close, and they should be incredibly proud of themselves. But it's going to be Croatia, I feel, that are just going to close this out as the ball goes long.
Last attack for Luxembourg. Last chance saloon. Gives the ball away though. And for Tristan and for Luxembourg, you feel that that's the end of the road here in the eEuro finals. Kramaric has the... Oh, there was just too much to ask for there for Luxembourg. It's 5-3 to Croatia. 3-2 in the second leg. That is done and dusted.
Yeah, you can see what had happened there. Luxembourg had gone all out attacking the hunt for that final goal to get themselves level, and instead they've conceded and they've gone down. They've played fantastically well, have Luxembourg, but credit to Zaprasic for, again, just steadying himself enough to get himself through into the tiebreaker game, and Croatia will be very happy with that as a performance, although not in that second leg. It got very jittery as soon as Luxembourg were there, and there is the final whistle.
Well, that makes it official. 5-3 it ends between Luxembourg and Croatia. That was our first chance to see Luxembourg throughout this entire campaign, and well, they did not disappoint even in the slightest. I think there were a lot of people's fan favourites coming into the finals. I suppose you could say a minnow nation. No one really expected them to get this far. They almost produced the shock of the tournament should they have pushed it to that game 3. You think about that chance at 4-3. We'll take a look at some of the replays here, Wes, but I mean, that entire second leg was a roller coaster of emotions.
Yeah, it was a fantastic representation of how to conduct your PES gameplay. It's a wonderful through ball that found its way through. It was one touch and bang, straight into the back of the net. And again, Luxembourg, they had their rubs of the green there just got the right side of it. And again, even more rubber the green for a double bar hit, which finds its way eventually into the back of the net. You know, and Croatia were reeling. Let's not get that, you know, mixed up. It was a nice finish from the set piece. Again, it was, you know, the danger of Milik there, but again, it was straight back from Luxembourg as Luxembourg found a way in and just about crept the ball into the back of the net. And all of a sudden, it was game on. And, you know, it was only through, you know, Luxembourg pushing forward did Kramaric had the space to finish off the game in injury time. And as you can see there from the stats, you know, possession was key for Croatia in the latter stages. But, you know, credit to Luxembourg for the performance they put on.
Tristan, I mean, he gave it a good go. Both of these nations certainly stated before the match they were playing to raise esports awareness within their respective nations. They've just put on arguably the best match that we will see in eEuro 2020. I know it's early to call, but wow, that was an honest roller coaster, and credit really to both nations really stepping up. Luxembourg especially, never ever giving up. We will see Croatia advance to the deciding match here in Group C. And, well, they will play one of Netherlands or Montenegro, whoever loses that matchup. We will have that matchup later on in the show as well. Keep interacting with us, hashtag eEuro 2020. We want to hear your thoughts. We want to know if you are, you know, taking a lay down like we're about to, because we need a bit of rest after that roller coaster of emotions. And we also want to know who you're supporting in each matchup. You can go on eEuro2020.com/vote, and you can vote on each match and let us know. Wes, final thoughts from you. Croatia, Luxembourg. Where do we see Croatia go from here? Do we think they go and rebound off of that performance and maybe take the lessons from it and push forward now to maybe move out of this group? Or do we think that might be just some warning signs, maybe some chinks in the armour of the Croatian side?
Yeah, I think it's more the latter rather than the former. I think it's their defensive frailties may cost them in bigger games. You know, as the game as a whole, though, for Luxembourg, for Croatia, it's a perfect advert for esports for both countries. You know, you could put that out on a YouTube channel and say, hey, you know, come and try and set up a Croatia or a Luxembourg esport league. Perfect advert for it. And I think Croatia now have got to build. They've got to build on that result. They have to go and push on, because at the moment their defensive frailties look all too obvious.
Absolutely, they do. And well, you feel like the Netherlands and Montenegro, who are playing in this group in the winners match, might be looking at Croatia as a side that look a little bit susceptible here in Group C. But that's enough of Group C. Now it's time to move over to Group D. We have more fantastic eFootball PES action on the way. And to take you through it, it is Lee D-Man Smith and Adam Butcher. Guys, take it away.
Yes, thank you very much, and we are back. So we're moving down over to Group D, Adam, and it's almost a battle across the Mediterranean, this one, with Israel coming up against Greece.
Yeah, Israel versus Greece, and the games that they've just come from were against, you would have to say, well, Greece are one of the favourites of the group, and France, of course, I would believe would be one of the groups, one of the favourites, considering they actually have the best player currently in the world of eFootball PES in Makabal. So you'd expect them to have won their game.